Simplified Chaos, episode 170.
Life is beautiful and full of chaos.
And it can get slightly out of hand if that shit's not tamed.
We're here to share how to simplify the little things to help you lead a more intentional life.
This is Simplified Chaos.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Simplified Chaos. This is Jillian, one of your hosts, and I'm with my husband and co-host, Nicholas.
What's going on, folks? We hope you all are having an amazing week. We've got another great episode here for you today. This one is an interview episode. Jilly, who did you get a chance to speak with this time?
Yeah, so I sat down with Alyssa Wolff. She actually reached out to me and wanted to share her story. So she is a mom of 5, an introvert, God follower, and perpetual bookworm. She has 12 years of experience balancing multiple kids while still getting time to recharge. So she specializes in de-stressing #mom life, so you can reach supermom status with ease. So she has some great strategies since she is a mom of 5, and hopefully it'll help us streamline some days at home.
Absolutely. Well, I'm excited for this conversation. Let's go ahead and dive into it. Here's Jill's interview with Alyssa.
Hi, Alyssa. Welcome to the podcast.
Hi, Jillian. Thank you.
I am so pumped for our conversation and to learn more about you and your life and your work. But before we dive into all that, we always like to start each episode with gratitude. So if there was one thing you were grateful for today, what would that be?
My birthday was yesterday.
Yay! Happy belated birthday.
Thank you.
Did you do anything to celebrate?
Oh, I got to eat one of my favorite kinds of Greek yogurt, and then my family said I didn't have to cook, so we got pizza.
Oh my God, that sounds magical. Well, that is awesome. One thing I'm grateful for today is, one for you, like making time and space to come talk with me, and then also one of my neighbors graciously volunteered that if she wanted me, so I have one daughter, Lucille, she was like, you can drop Lucille off at my house if you need like an hour. And I'm like, yes, I will accept all the help. So I dropped her off today for about an hour, and I was able to talk to my mom, go for a nice little walk, and I cleaned the bathrooms. And I'm like, I feel like a new person. It's amazing what 60 minutes without my daughter can do. Mm-hmm. Awesome. So we're going to jump right into it. I would love for you to share with our community a little bit about yourself. You can start wherever you want, and just how you arrived to be living the life you're living today.
Sure. So shortly after our 5th baby was born, I'd heard about the online business and was like, this is my chance to make an impact before all the kids leave the nest. So I don't have to wait for 17 years. So I took a step out in courage and began my work from home plus homeschooling journey to help other moms simplify their lives.
Wow. So you said you have 5 kids.
Yes.
Holy moly. Where do you live, if you don't mind me asking?
Oklahoma.
Okay. So what did you do before the kids started arriving? Were you working at all when they were born, or did you stop working when the first one was born?
Nope, I hadn't worked. I got pregnant 3 months after we got married. So.
Wow. That's amazing. How's homeschooling going?
Pretty well.
Yeah.
I'm doing some high school planning for the oldest, and then the youngest 2 aren't really in homeschool yet. They're just kind of in that pre-K-ish phase. So I really only have 3 to homeschool right now.
And so how old is your oldest?
13.
Oh my gosh, man. So you're mothering hard, like you're a professional now. You've had a lot of wisdom to like help other people.
I feel like I'm still in the middle. I need to like graduate summer from high school before I can say I'm experienced.
Awesome. So what were you doing before you got pregnant? Did you have any type of work before then, or like any passions or anything? I know sometimes it's interesting to hear what moms did, what their hobbies were, what they're passionate about. And then like when they have kids, it kind of all changes and like it pivots in a beautiful way. So I'm just curious.
No, I was the same person. I needed to take driver's ed and finish up 2 college courses for the degree because we hadn't had time to get that in before walking for graduation. So.
Oh, okay. Wow. Okay. So how did you find, I was looking at your website and I'm so grateful that you reached out and was like, hey, I listened to these episodes. I can resonate with this and I would love to chat more. And I was like, yes, and I was like stalking your website and Instagram. And I'm like, all of your words, the things you were saying, I was just like, yes, all the nods. Like, I agree. And you had this, so you're all about, what is it? Like the super mom. I love that. You're all about like making moms the super mom. Like to me, like my version of that is like badass mom. So we cuss here, just so you know, it's like a little bit here and there, but anyway, I don't really hold back when it comes to that. But you had this post that I read. It was the sustainable minimalism post. And I just want to read a little bit of it because I want to chat with you about it. It says, and that means we have to step up to the plate, ruffle a few feathers, and change the way things are done around here. And when I was like picturing ruffle up a few feathers, I'm thinking about like the way that we're deciding to live, very intentional. And it's very against the grain. It's very not like what society is like kind of programming us to live, where it's buy this, you need this food. This is what's, mainstream. So, and then I was reading some of the bullets you had about like, no more kids getting off free on tidying up. No more keep all the presents you ever get rules. And then no more mommy comes last thinking. And all of those, like, yes, how important they are. They're like these simple actions that I feel like add up to be so much more in our life. And I would love for you to chat more about like tidying up, like the kids, the chores. You have so much great content about chores and delegating things. So I would love for you to speak about that. Like, what has that experience been like with you, with all of your children?
It's definitely been a journey. So I knew that I would be bringing my children into chores from the beginning, but I figured I wasn't going to be the mom who ran around teaching her 2 and 3-year-olds how to make their beds. I was like, okay, we'll just wait till they're like kindergarten age. And then I feel like they'll be able to do something and actually complete a task and not, oh, look at you, you're so cute, but I have to help you do everything. So I gave myself a break even while saying I was going to do it and just made it easier. And then I picked the really basic things, like you have to take your plate to the dishwasher for me. I don't clean up after you. Your clothes go in the laundry basket. You will drive your laundry basket to the washing machine when mommy is doing laundry. That kind of personal responsibility, autonomy, mommy's not your maid. And then now that I have 5 kids, around about 8, I notice they start getting way more capable. And they like want to be in the kitchen and they want to use the knives. They might want to try the vacuum cleaner and they certainly want to try spraying cleaners everywhere. So like about 8, I'm like, all right, you are going to get a crash course in all the things and we'll figure out what stuff you catch on to quickly and what stuff you're like, you might need a little more muscle power for the vacuum cleaner, or you're totally not getting this and you know how to do 3 other things, so let's just not sweat this. And to be fair, sometimes it's the older kids teaching the younger ones. They're like, hey, I'm going to go clean bathrooms. You want to come along? Oh, yes. I'm just like in awe.
I was going to say that's got to be a tremendous benefit of having multiple children, is like they get to learn from each other versus like always learning everything from you. So it's like, you made this great instructional video business wise that your kids just get to watch magically because you've already taught one. It's like this ripple effect, like they get to see the same thing and they get to see it.
Yes.
But that's awesome. I love the idea of starting small. And I know that's probably like the hardest part, is just like taking the time and energy to like help them do that. Like, it's not an easy thing that they're going to get right away. It's like a lot of repetition. Like, let's drag the laundry basket. Let's do this. But the whole like autonomy, personal responsibility. And I love that you said crash course, because it reminds me of like, when we're older, we want to take a course on something. It's like, why not take a crash course on real life skills? Like, to me, that's like the main thing is like, besides like love, kindness, trust, it's like personal responsibility, like how to take care of yourself, how to take care of the people around you, of the house you're living in, and how mom isn't your housekeeper. Like wouldn't every mom want that? For sure. Holy cow. So do they do like, what are some of the responsibilities they do now? And like, is there ever a time where the kids are like, I really don't feel like doing this. It's not fun, mom. Like, do you have anything for like intrinsic motivation or to gamify it and make it fun? Like, do you have any tricks up your sleeve for when they're just like, I really don't want to do it?
Yes, they're definitely in don't really feel like it phase. At least the boys are, because they're 5 and 8. The girls are 12 and 13, so they've aged out of that kind of.
Yeah.
So with the boys, there's either a lesson in, okay, we have to do it whether or not we feel like it. Would you like mommy to decide to cook you meals when she feels like it? And if that kind of theoretical thing doesn't work and they're still slumping around the kitchen refusing to chop veggies, then it's okay. I don't typically like paying kids for chores, but in this instance, it seems to work really well. I'm like, all right, your 2 cents for helping me with this goes to a sibling. Who wants to earn 2 pennies for doing this? And an immediate chorus of me's. And that has the really funny effect of the original kid. Somebody says, no, wait. I don't care. I don't like it. I want that money. Give it back. I promise I'll do it. And then I have to go do it right then and there, or they'll do forfeit.
That's genius. And it's something like that's relatable to life. Like, there's certain things in your job that you don't want to do, but you get paid for it. So, like, it's my responsibility that I have to get it done for like the bigger picture or the greater cause. No,
we're just going like, how do we say there's a consequence other than, oh, you didn't do it, you should have? Yeah, that's just words. Depending on your kid's personality, they'll just blow it off. Well, what about if it was a job? You would get dinged.
I remember,
so make it something they care about.
Yeah, totally. And I remember, so I used to be a classroom teacher for 12 years, and I had this thing where I was trying to make it as relatable to the real world as I could. So it was like after 3 strikes, if someone had a job, they wanted that job, and it was like they would get fired. And the kids were just like, oh, we don't want to get fired. I was like, I know we don't want to, but I'm like, unfortunately, like if I give you 3 chances and you're still not able to do the job the right way, then I have to give the job to somebody else who's going to like, who wants it more, who's like willing to go the extra mile to like get the job done. But I think it's so cool when we can like pair real life within the home in a really fun way, but also preparing them at the same time. Like, it's not like I'm just doing this here and good. It's like, well, literally, this is how the real world works. There's natural consequences in life when certain things don't get done. So yeah, I love that so much, how it's very applicable to real life. And there was something else, another blog post you had about 5 habits I cannot live without. And this was another one where I'm just like, yes. It's like planning out your week ahead of time, delegating as many chores to the kids within their capabilities. And like, you're like, no driving or sharp knives, clearly. You have repeating meals either by week or by season to streamline meal prep. And I was all about that. And you also had teaching each child in home education how to work independently. I would love to know, what is that looking like for you right now? Because obviously my child is not very independent because she's 4. So I know autonomy looks different with each age. Like, what are some things that you're doing or have been doing with your kids to help them, I guess, be more autonomous and work by themselves without you around?
Again, it's that kind of magic age of around 8. What I start transitioning to for the homeschooling is you read the lesson and you do the problems. It's not my responsibility to explain the lesson to you. That was the curriculum's job. So you come to me if you still can't do it after you have read the lesson, or if you've done a few of those beginner, really easy problems and you still can't figure it out. Basically training them that whatever curriculum you're using, that has a lot of examples in there. They laid it all out. You try to do it and figure it out. And I am your grader. And if I see you're failing this, then I'll see if I can explain something. But the person who wrote the book was probably really smart. So it's like, okay, they knew how to lay out the math and exactly the steps that you're going to need to take, and said, these are the most crucial examples. Go look at this one. So it's not laid out perfectly alike, but was the same equation format. Okay, then use it on yours and go step by step like they were doing. So it removes a ton of the pressure. I'm not the home educator. I am your grader. I am your tutor. It's like, oh, well, sure, I can buy a curriculum. I can make sure you got your assignments done. I can input grades. I can see, do you need supplemental help in this, as if I was also your classroom aide. I'm not sitting there saying it's my job to make sure you understand pre-algebra and chemistry and how to, the reading, yeah, you kind of have to teach them how to read, but anything farther on. So that makes my day a ton easier. I'm not sitting there doing school for 4 hours a day. I'm saying you go to your room or wherever is most comfortable, take your books with you, come back if you have a problem. Otherwise, deposit your books right here in the checking spot. I will grade them and get them back to you.
Do you feel like I'm all about, and I like that you said tutor. When I hear tutor, I've always thought it's like you're learning alongside of them. So it's like you're a co-learner, you're a co-pilot, you are not above them in the hierarchy. It's like we're together. I'm here to, aid with, if there are problems or issues. But I like how you have pretty much like if I'm stuck, like strategies, like when you're stuck, here's A, B, and C. Like, can you go back and do a practice problem, or can you go back and look at the book, or is there something else you can do? So I think that's so important. And just being in a classroom setting, allowing them to give them time to figure it out and have steps to do that and kind of guidance with that before they're always going to you with every single problem. Cause I can see how that could be really, really, I don't want to say annoying, but just like, that takes up a lot of energy and time. Like if they're coming to you with every little problem. And I've noticed some kids just need wait time. Like they just need time to think about it. And then, or like when the kids are bored, it's like, they don't know what to do right away, but when they think about it and wait or take a break and come back, they're like, I got it. I figured it out. So I think that's so cool how you give them strategies to kind of like before mom or before, the grader, like, here are some things we can do. And normalizing that, like as you said, at the age of 8, I think that's interesting. The magic age is 8. I never thought about that.
Because you want them really confident in the reading to be able to understand all the textbooks examples. So that's kind of why I picked it.
That makes sense. Okay. And there was something else. So you had a habit 5. Sorry, I stopped at 4 because I'm in like the homeschooling right now. Like, even though she's 4, I say she's been learning since she came out of me. So like, she's been learning this whole time. I don't know if I want to label it or not, but we're doing it at home, and whatever that turns into, it is what it is, but we're excited. But your 5th habit that you had is honor my own. And you said like, honor your own signals and start working. Can you talk to me about that? Like, what are some struggles you have had in motherhood where you maybe have been exhausted, overwhelmed, ignoring your feelings or what has been happening inside you? And then like, what has happened and to drive you to take better care of yourself and to notice that?
I'm the productivity guru's favorite type of the ultra disciplined person. The downside of that is that I look at the to-do list and say, push, 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 push. It doesn't matter. It's not break time yet. And you're out of energy. You still have to get through everything before you're allowed to take the break. So I lived so many years at the start of my mothering journey that way, saying, well, it didn't matter if it was one of those terrible, horrible, no good days. It's not 1 o'clock yet. It's not nap time yet. I'm supposed to be able to go through. And then you're just existing on fumes, and which means you're yelling at the kids, and everything is the straw that breaks the camel's back many times over. If someone spills or nothing goes right, or you wait too long at the stoplight. And one day I was like, well, what would happen if I took the break right now and I got to the work later? All right, I'm going to have to make it up. Can't let it slide till tomorrow. I'll just see, and I'll take the time I need now and go read a book or take a walk. Well, after 2 hours, I felt like I had so much energy. I got done those really annoying things like 10 minutes each. I was like, this would have taken me 30 minutes a piece before I took the break. So I could do this anytime I feel out of energy. I can just say, all right, recharge time, and it will go like at double speed afterwards. So this isn't a put tons of work on later. It's I'll get through it really quickly later. So absolutely, I need to take care of myself now. It's even more efficient time-wise to do that.
I love that, looking as rest as recharge time and thinking like, yeah, I'll charge up and I'll go faster than I would before. I think where people would rest if they thought about it that way, or they experimented more and said, hey, this actually is really true. And they tested it out. And that's cool how you had that revelation. And then we're like, I need to honor my body more and see what happens. And I'm sure that's had a domino effect on your life of just showing up way better for your kids. I love that. So I know on your website, and you're all about like helping moms be their super version mom. And to me, it's like almost a form of success. That's how I was like, a success for you is like feeling like a super mom. So I guess, what is your definition of success in your little world right now?
Living a life that's well grounded in 3 things: what I need as a person, what my kids need, and then what my husband and I need to stay connected. So basically being happy every day in the nitty-gritty details of life.
How do you take inventory of what you and your husband need? I'm always fascinated what couples do to connect and make time for like reflection and conversation. And I'm so grateful for this podcast that I do with my husband. Nick is usually not with me on the interview episodes because he works, but the podcast is like our opportunity to like sit down, chat about topics normally you don't really want to talk about, like finances or goals or just reflecting on progress of certain specific things in life. So that has kind of like forced us to communicate better and to make time for ourselves and to plan like date nights and things. So I'm always fascinated. What do you do and how do you make time for that?
Same as you guys, we tend to need to talk a lot. I think it's because we each share that quality time, love language.
Love languages. Yes, that is one of mine too. Do you guys have to like and put in like your calendar intentionally, like when I'm going to talk to my husband, or is it like every Saturday, like that's when we do it? Or like, what does that look like logistically, like how you make time for it? Or is it just something that just kind of happens like naturally?
Logistically, the whole, let's go out and have a 30-minute coffee chat every Saturday wasn't cutting it. Like that was fine for maintenance, but we didn't necessarily feel close. So what we started doing was part of designing our days turned into, okay, work day's done. Mommy and daddy get to flop too. All right, you kids go play or something. I'm not going to force myself to start supper right away. Instead, I'm going to say I get to have a break in between. So I'm going to go flop down with him, sofa on our bed and say, hey, did you hear about this on the news? Or I was thinking this and the kids did that. And then we'll just like give ourselves an hour. Not we're going to talk for 20 minutes. We're going to talk something out, but just a wide range of time, free flowing, like 3 times a week. And then, okay, I am an introvert, but I can talk a lot. And that feels like everything gets good, talked over and connected. And then it feels like we're being friends. It's not just the day-to-day running the family stuff, but it's I heard about this. Did you ever know this? And it's like, oh yeah, I know about that already. And it's like, well, that's why I married him. He was my best friend. So that's what's working really well for us, is to have multiple hours a week, which I always thought sounded crazy before. But now when I frame it as this is rest time for me in between, the work and homeschooling and making supper, well, why wouldn't I want to go sit down and talk to him? It's not a to-do, it's a break.
I love that. And you said something powerful, like before you said when you were planning it out, it was maintenance, but it didn't bring us close together. And I think sometimes we get so intertwined in productivity mindset of like, this is when we do it. This is the time window, but we forget like there's so much growth and love and connection when things happen, like in the free flow, in the in-between moments, and the unplanned time that we have for that, instead of feeling like you're forced to like chat about things and you may not be in the right mindset to even do that, which sometimes with women, I know, I speak for myself, like my hormones could be like, now's not a good time. This Saturday, like I'm not feeling like really super open to chat right now. I just want to be by myself, read a book and like put me in a corner somewhere. But I think that's such a powerful revelation you had with your husband to like just change the format and experiment. And now you're doing it even more often and it's longer. So that's really cool. And remembering that like we were friends first, like how do we nurture that friendship first and just stay connected throughout all the chaos that happens. So I think that's pretty beautiful. And I'm not sure if this was part of your core values, but we are really big on values. I feel like values drive your life. Like they give you that direction and it makes all your other decisions in life that much easier, or simplifies it to be like, no, that doesn't align to what we value. So it's going to be a no, thank you. So I'm curious, what are the core values that you and your family hold, and how does that guide you in living like your most intentional life?
So the way I've designed my day and then my family's day specifically is kind of goes around these 5 things. Number 1, introversion is okay, and you should restructure your life and your commitments around that. Number 2, if something feels like it's wrong or too much, remind yourself, I can change anything in my life. I can do something about this. Number 3, when you notice that thing that's wrong, take action. You have to do something about it. Number 4, the right choice is the lighter choice. Whatever is easier to fix this, just do that one instead of obsessing about what the perfect option would be. And number 5, you have the right to say this is too much. I can't handle something. I need to simplify it.
Those are great. Great. You should like make that into a poster and just put it in your house. Do your kids know this too? I'm curious. Like, do
No.
they? No, I mean, that is something I feel like that even our kids should know as well. And I think that may help streamline the little things that could happen in their life too. I guess when they're the age of 8 or ready, you know, when your kids are ready. But my husband works in the industry of mental health, and he said that he heard something really powerful in one of his webinars. It was like that no is a complete sentence. And that was powerful. How like you don't have to justify, you don't have to give a reason, but you do have to be confident in that when you say no, you may hurt people's feelings or they may feel a certain way, but it's not in your control. And that just saying like when things are too much or not aligned, like say no, like it's okay. I think there's a lot of mom guilt that goes around with even saying no to our kids sometimes, but I think there's so much growth that our kids do when we show that we have boundaries and it's okay to have them and it's okay to voice them so that they know how to have those social skills as well when it comes to like voicing when things feel good or when things are like, no, this isn't right for me. Awesome. Okay. So you keep referring to yourself as an introvert, and I'm not getting that. For someone who's an online business, who puts out videos, who makes a podcast, I'm like, I don't understand. You need to tell me, why do you view yourself as an introvert? Maybe I don't know the full definition of introvert, but please tell me why you put yourself in that category.
Well, I get my energy from being by myself. So, I want quiet. I want to read books. I want to think, go for walks. I just like being by myself. So it actually means that this whole, doing videos or podcasts was a stretch or a push for me. I would rather just write everything. But it's been a way of growth.
Okay. Well, I considered myself an introvert too. I'm definitely like, I asked my husband. So last year I had like 3 magical days by myself and it was so rejuvenating. And I almost felt guilty. I'm like, I asked Nick, I was like, Nick is my husband. I was like, how can I get 2 or 3 days by myself again? I know it happened. It was like a fluke, but I really want to plan that again because it was great. And Nick was just like, totally, like, we'll figure it out. We'll get it done. And he's like, I don't want 3 days by myself as my husband fills up on other people. And like, the energy around him from just being in big crowds or with, friends. And I am the same way. I fill up by myself. I find I have really good thoughts when I am in boredom or, I'm just like laying around or I have a journal or I'm reading a book. So I want to put myself in that category too. But yeah, it's just like you doing all these things. I was like, she considers herself an introvert and she's putting so much of herself out there. I'm like, that is just, it's wild. Like, what do you do to push yourself to go through that? Even though it's like really uncomfortable, like, what is your drive to like do the business and like do the podcast? What is the why behind all that?
Well, the business why was to be able to simplify other moms' lives. So if anybody else is out there feeling that they're overwhelmed because they're introverted too, I don't want them to have to go through, a decade or something of hurry, scurry, crazy rat race and people all the time. And then the why I'm out there is then I need to have the growth mindset and be willing to take feedback. And right now the feedback I was getting was our generation doesn't want to read. They want audio or video. So like, okay, I guess I have to do something else then.
Wow.
So, it's an experiment. It's in process. I would love if I didn't have to do all 3 mediums in the future. And I will believe that I'll get to drop one of them. But right now I need to figure out where my moms are and meet them where they're at.
I love that so much. So where do you get a sense of community and support, living the way you do and doing things a little bit against the norm? And what helps you have that sense of like, you're not alone in this? I know you get that to other moms, but what is giving that for you initially and continually, like now?
Well, of course, I have my own selection of podcasts or blogs that I listen to weekly. And then I talk with my mom whenever I need help setting boundaries because she's very supportive and kind of got me started off on the right foot. But yeah, I don't have my own like personal friend community. It's always something I'd love to have. But on the flip side, if I can listen to podcasts like yours and things like that every week, doesn't matter that I don't personally know her phone number if I can learn from her,
Oh, I like that. It's funny. I started my minimalism journey by listening to a podcast. I'm curious what podcasts are like usually like staples or like that you're into right now, because I know it can change seasonally as well.
Yes. Well, I'll just go look up some of them. Have you heard of Allie Casazza?
Oh, I haven't listened to her in a while, but I've listened to her on my commutes to work when I was full time. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. She's been a huge impetus for some of that. There's another one called Save, Spend, Splurge. So she's a little more on finances and minimalism. And then when she had a kid, then she added in some parenting. So that was just kind of a fun lifestyle thing that wasn't floofy lifestyle, because she's, very into the PF blogger type. So I really enjoyed that aspect as well. And I read like tons of minimalism blogs and productivity blogs, 5 and 8 years ago to get started on all of this. So I've, over multiple years of absorbing all that content, it's like it's become part of me. I might not have to go back and read all of their stuff every week now, but I had a very in-depth immersion when I wanted to switch and be like, okay, I'm not thinking I'm a minimalist. I'm going to be a minimalist.
It's interesting. Like I still do have a lot of minimalism books. I don't know if you know Danae Barahona. I listened to Simple Families. Yes. I listened to her a while, and I got her book, and it's such a beautiful book to have too. So I have that, and one of Joshua Becker's books about clutter-free kids. So I was actually diving into it this week, and I have all these things underlined, highlighted, dog ears, but it's more like for my mindset. It's not like I don't know what to do. It's more like the why, like remembering like my kids don't have to have, like my kid doesn't have to have all the toys, or I'm doing what's best for my kid, and that's okay. And it's going to look different. And like all the reasons why it's like, all right, just got a little repriming, little rewiring back in it. I'm like, okay, I'm good. But it's interesting. I feel like I had this deep immersion as well. And I was just like, this is amazing. And my life has gotten so much better because of all these little steps I've made. So I think it's so great that you're able to share your wisdom with other moms and give them all of these little strategies to kind of help simplify their lives. I think that's beautiful. And for you going against the stream of what feels good for you, like you don't want to do all the platforms, but you're doing it for the bigger cause. And I think that's amazing that you're putting all that out there for them. So amongst all of this, like, how do you take care of yourself with 5 kids? How do you make space for nourishment? And, what does that look like in your day?
Well, primarily, as I said, quiet. So time to read. I want time away from the kids' questions, away from the chores, and a brain break for me. So I moved all of my chores to a higher energy point during the day, so not the afternoon. So I could be freed up to do what I love. So that meant streamlining the cleaning, minimizing the house. That was a big one. And then, of course, enlisting the kids in chores. So I'm doing less. I don't have like 5 different food prep and cleaning things on my plate. Instead, I've got like 2. And specifics, that means 3 hours during nap time. And then in the morning before the kids get up, and then in the evening after they go to bed, we have early bedtime hours.
I like how you realize when your high energy points of the day are, like when you feel most invigorated, and using that time super wisely and intentionally. I think that's brilliant. And I've had pockets of time where I realize I'm not really motivated to clean in the morning. I'm more in the afternoon cleaner. But when it comes to thinking and writing, like writing is like definitely a morning thing for me. So it's fun to like that you're so intentional and cognitive of like those peak times for you and planning it that way. I think that's brilliant. Well, I know we're running out of time here, and I really want to get to the quote and where people can find you. So I love words. I'm big on quotes. So what is a quote that is resonating with you in this season of life?
Oh, something that Allie Casazza always says: you were meant to be the mother of these children. I mean, how freeing is that? My values are exactly what my kids need in parenting.
That's such an empowering quote. Yeah, that's beautiful. After everything we chatted about, and I know you probably have some things that if you could give one step to people, like where to start, or something that would just, oh, hi, Lucille, my daughter's in here, something that people can start to like just having a more intentional and happier life, what would that little action step be?
You could always change something. Yes, you're too busy. Yes, you're stressed out, but sitting there and doing nothing is a choice too. You're choosing not to do anything about it. So next time you have a crazy day, stop and ask yourself, what would make this better, easier on me, and just do that one thing. There's always a way to change and move forward. You have every right to go the light route and not the discipline route.
The light route and not the discipline route. That's powerful. That's awesome. My daughter Lucille's here. I don't know if you can see her.
Hi, Lucille.
Oh, you're eating your beef and potato and tomatoes. Lovely. All right. So before Zoom kicks me off, I want people to know where to find you, where to connect with you, where to hire you if they need you in their lives as like this light mom wisdom in their lives.
So I'm at yourownbusylife.com. There'll be a new episode podcast video every Tuesday for you. And on that website, you'll see a tab that says Mom Life Made Easy if you want to hire me to help. And then I'd also like to give you for free the Supermom's Guide to No More Toy Pickup. So if you're sick of endlessly organizing the toy bins and they never stay tidy, this is what minimalism is good for. Get instant access to the guide and ditch all that hours of cleanup just before bed. You'll at least cut your tidy up time in half. It might even be a lot more.
And I don't know if you resonated with this. The one thing in minimalism books, the best way to organize is to get rid of it.
Yes,
like,
exactly.
To not buy it in the first place. Like, duh, that's genius. Like, you save money by not buying it. Like, that's how you save money. Not by coupons, but just not getting it. But
yes.
Oh, so good. Well, Alyssa, this has been such a joy. Thank you again for reaching out and making this connection. Thank you for rubbing me, Lucille. This feels very relaxing. Thank you for just taking the time and energy to do this. I know you're a busy mom, but simplifying your life and living your dream. And I'm just so excited to like consume more of your content and learn more from you. It's so neat to connect with other moms who are in the same similar journey and to learn from each other. So thank you for the work you're doing in the world and putting your best introverted self out there. Yes. You are a motivation to us all.
You're so welcome, Jillian.
All right. Well, take care and thanks so much.
All right, folks. Well, that's going to do it for our episode here today. If you like this episode, please do us a favor and help us spread the message. You can do this by writing a review or simply by sharing this episode with a friend. And remember, sharing sparks a conversation. Conversation leads to action, and action's how we're able to live a happy and intentional as hell lifestyle. We want to thank you all for listening today, and we will see you again next week.
See y'all later.